Well, welcome to 2025, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a good holidays. I want to thank those who joined me on my photography journey here on YouTube. I just wanted to go through some of my favorite images from the year. We'll kick it off with this one. These are in no particular order. So this image was shot in Grand Prix at a morning shoot, and what I really like about this image is the sunburst in it and a nice weeping willow tree to kind of fill the frame. I love the soft yellows and oranges in the shot. This was shot on my 20mm prime lens that gives that nice starburst when you stop it way down. So this image was of a goose. I went to this pond to shoot a wood duck. It turned out that it wasn't there. It went somewhere else. I do have an image in my collection from this year from that, but it wasn't one that I captured on video. And then, so I sought out to shoot what else was there. So this was another subject there. So I went to shoot the goose, and what I really like about this image is the specular highlights in the water that are out of focus, and it adds to like a dreaminess look to the image with a soft background that same color. It's a very pleasing image in my mind. This is a silhouette of myself on Butcher Hill Falls. So there was some heavy rains, and I went out to shoot these falls specifically after that rain, because on my first time here a couple years prior, there was very little water, and in the foreground there would have been no water, and with a little trickle in the back. This was a fun video to shoot, and I was there all by myself. Although I got soaked for the image, I do really like it. So as mentioned before, I had a wood duck. This is a male wood duck, and they look so awesome. Very vibrant, much like the mandarin duck, and there was a mandarin duck in this pond a few years ago that likely escaped captivity that I managed to shoot. They're also very vibrant, but they're not local to Nova Scotia. Wood ducks are, but they're somewhat rare. So this shot was fun to shoot, laying on my belly, trying to get as low to the ground. There were two other photographers shooting the duck as well. Those red eyes, crazy. So this year I captured my first loon. I've seen plenty over the years and heard even more. I love a loon. I don't know the shape of the head, just love it, but it also has reminds me of camping. So that's when I would have heard them the most on the water while camping. So I set out, I was trying to get the loon drying off after going for a dive, and I don't know. I missed focus. I'm not even sure what happened, but I just missed focus during that flap, of course. And then I didn't get the rest of they didn't come back for the rest of the evening on that shoot. So it's one that I'll probably have to try to go and get again if they're at that spot, the same lake this year. So I try to get out and do Milky Way shots during Milky Way season. So like April-ish to kind of September here. The problem is in Nova Scotia is that anytime there's a new moon, you have cloudy skies. But this was Terrence Bay Lighthouse. I just love how this one comes together with the glow of the lighthouse, although it was challenging to shoot, and part of the glow is artificial. It's an image that I thoroughly enjoy. So hopefully the weather cooperates this year and I can get out and shoot some more Milky Way. I do have some few other lighthouses that will line up really well with the Milky Way. That I've actually never been to those ones before either, so it'll be a double bonus, but hopefully 2025 I'll be able to nail some of those ones. So I love waterfalls. You probably noticed this is a nice falls. It's also nice because you can get up on top of it. So I interjected myself into the scene to pose, and it allows you to get scale, which I think is important. But yeah, there was So I wasn't expecting a whole lot of water because we've had a pretty dry summer. So it was nice to see that water flowing. It helps that it was also just a short little hike, because if it was a long one, I probably wouldn't even have ventured into it. But it was a fun little shoot there for sure. So this was a fun one. It's just some colorful rocks with the light going through the rippling water above it and creating some nice abstract lines on top of the abstractness of the colorful rocks. I don't know. I just love it as an abstract image, and if I find conditions like that again, I'll certainly shoot them again. So this is another one from Grand Prix, St. Charles de Mines Memorial Chapel. This is the backside of the chapel, which kind of gets here the sunrise, where I got the starburst again with that 20mm prime. Just gives a nice burst. These are the dramatic skies I alluded to in the Weeping Willow image that cleared off before I moved around to the back, or moved around to the willow tree. So this is also the same vantage point where you can capture the Milky Way kind of arcing over it. So I've shot this chapel plenty. Probably one of my favorite all-time images is the Milky Way in the background of this, but almost every time I shoot it, it's such a unique architecture to it. I just love it, like the old bricks. So this year we've had quite a few solar storms. I was able to be out to capture most of them. And Northern Lights is something that I started my photography shooting Northern Lights when I was in the Northwest Territories. Anytime they're in the forecast, I'll try to get out, and this was one of those days. So I finished a 12-hour shift at my regular job and not the hobby of photography, and went out to a location where I tried to capture them before. It was incredible for being this far south that Nova Scotia is. And although it started off looking doom and gloom with the clouds, I think the clouds in this image like really adds to it. It would have been nice to have them completely clear off as well, and this was just an incredible night, and it was short-lived because the clouds did roll in. It did eventually start to rain. I did move back to another location, but overall 2024 gave a bunch of opportunities for the Northern Lights. 2025 should be pretty good for them as well. In fact, the last couple days were probably pretty good if you had clear skies, which we did not, of course. So again, I kind of alluded to, I do a whole whack of different types of photography: nature, landscape, astro, macro. This is a real snowflake that you capture, focus, stack. Last year wasn't that great for the conditions for the flakes where you get images like this. I only got 2 last year, and already this year I have more. I'm 90% done in video showing how I do this, that it was filmed last year, and I got to do the finishing touches for some of the stuff that was missed because we ran out of cold temperatures. So right now I can't do it either because it's seasonably warm. So we're like positive 5 degrees, I think, today. Yeah, like the detail in this particular flake, I got most of the flake in focus, but like the center of that is incredible. So this is another macro image. This is a staged image in that all the ingredients were put there. But you have a flower in behind, and water drop refraction. We'll flip that, and then you introduce an ant that was found outside. And although for the most part the ant didn't want to cooperate, I did get that one image where it did, and then you focus stack on the water droplets. But this is an image that came together really well. I want to do more of these, but it takes quite a while to set up. So yet another image from my trip to Grand Prix for a sunrise shoot. This is obviously looking away from the sun. You get the cooler colors in the sky, But you got the St. Charles de Main's chapel in the foreground, and then Blomidon in the background. And this is actually the cover image to my 2025 calendar, which I still have some, so there is a link in the description. But yeah, this was a great image. I did a vertical version of the exact same scene, but I prefer the horizontal. So this is Terrace Bay Lighthouse again. This was shot on the other side, the tail end of a sunset. But I just love the way the colors of this one with the longer exposure, smoothing out a wave that was receding. It's a spot I'll definitely go to again. So this year we were also treated with a comet A3. But in typical Nova Scotia fashion, we were clouded out until it faded considerably. So to get a more pronounced image, I used astrophotography concept to create this image. So this was 25 second exposures using a star tracker, and then calibration frames, and then process from there. So I was using my 85 millimeter f1.4, and it was a fun shoot. When New Wise came around, that was the last comet I think I shot. Bad conditions for it for the most part. But if I knew then what I know now, or like if I had my tracker, I would have been able to create pretty epic images with that. But so hoping for the next one. But what I really like about this one is that you can see the anti-trail. So it's normally it's what you see is the dust that's blown away from the sun, so the anti-trail goes towards the sun, which is pretty neat. So hoping for new adventures in 2025. Anyways, thanks for following along, and hope to see you in the new year.